Hey everybody, Sean McInnes here at GDC 2011, where I've got Marcus Smith, Creative Director on Resistance 3, here to tell us about his upcoming project. Marcus, you guys are here revealing multiplayer for the first time, but before we get into that, let's talk about the story. Where are you taking players, and what's changed since Resistance 2?
Okay, so the story of Resistance 3 takes place 4 years after the events of Resistance 2. For those of you who haven't played Resistance 2, I'm about to tell you something horrible. Our lead character, Nathan Hale, is killed at the end of Resistance 2, and the man who kills him is Joseph Capelli, who is from the same group as Nathan Hale. They both have sort of powers that have come about through experimentation. And that group called the Sentinels, Joseph Capelli is the last of those guys alive. In the intervening time, Chimera have essentially won. Humans are kind of screwed. They are just barely squeaking by. So we meet up with Joseph Capelli, and he now has a family, has a wife and a young son, and he lives in a small town where they basically have just dug holes in the ground and are hiding out and trying to just squeak out an existence. So it's a very, very different feel from Resistance 1 and 2, which was more about kind of the beginning of an invasion, and it's now kind of in the throes of it. You're being occupied. The Earth is totally occupied, so it's a very different feeling.
And that's a change that presents itself in the multiplayer as well, because you guys are trying to keep a more tight focus on these personalities and these individuals, right?
True. Yes, absolutely. For Resistance 1 we had 40-player max count, and for Resistance 2 we had 60. And so I guess the logical thing that people would be expecting is that we just keep on going. But we really are trying to make a much more focused game, tell a story about kind of that struggle, that intimate sort of struggle. And so one of the things that we've done is we have a max count now of 8 on 8, 16-player, which might be shocking to fans who are kind of used to this, but it actually makes for a much tighter experience. Especially if somebody kills you, you can go and find those people. And it feels a lot better to get that retribution. Obviously, you learn people's play styles that much better. You're not kind of scrambling across a map looking for where the fight is, and you're not having to get encumbered by mid-level objectives or something that are going to break the flow of the game.
So how does this smaller play count affect things like map design, weapon design, things like that?
Well, I think the biggest thing is map design, because in order to support those large numbers, you end up sort of stretching your means. So we're able to put a lot more effort in creating maps that have a much more grounded feel, have a lot more effects and sort of things that just make the place feel alive.
Now, Marcus, one of the other points that you mentioned is the idea of more customization, suiting your own personal play style a bit more in Resistance 3. What do you mean by that?
Well, for multiplayer, it really comes out easy, because not only do we have all of our sort of returning weapons, and we have new exotic weapons, and all of those weapons have single fire and alt fire, but we also have abilities that you're able to purchase, upgrade, and we have different sort of stat buff type abilities, and then also more tactical executable abilities. And when you start sort of adding these things together, you really can cater to your playstyle. So if you're somebody who's like, I just want to be hidden, and I want to snipe, and I want to do all that stuff, we have abilities that will help you kind of cater towards that playstyle.
Well, Marcus, I appreciate your time walking us through the changes in Resistance 3 multiplayer. Now, for everybody out there who's wondering, finish us off by letting us know when Resistance 3 is going to be available in stores.
It will be in stores September 6th in North America.
Thanks a lot, Marcus. There you guys have it. That's your update on Resistance 3.